Hi, it's Isabel, and I want to demonstrate the last technique I talked to you about. Last video, I talked to you about a prompt, which is simply to share about something you love that may not on the surface appear to be connected to your message or what it is you're here to offer the world. And I want to do that by talking about the Santa Fe Literary Festival. So today is Monday, and last weekend, Friday night, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday was the Santa Fe Literary Festival. It's the fourth year of the festival. It's grown into quite a big, thriving festival, and there are international, world class authors there. Friday night, we got to hear from recent Pulitzer Prize winner Percival Everett, who wrote this amazing book, James, that's a retelling of Huckleberry Finn through the eyes of Jim the slave. And this is the second year I've attended, and I just found it so inspiring. I just found it so inspiring to be around artists and creatives. To witness, the incredible diversity of creativity of the authors on the stage. It was wonderful to learn about their process and hear about how they approached writing and creating the book that they wrote. But even more so, I felt like some of what they shared actually doesn't speak just to the craft of writing, but really speaks to life. Um, so that's a little bit what I want to talk about more. I'll also say one interesting thing I really found both years is that I was often the most interested and inspired by listening to the authors I didn't know than the authors I did know. I sometimes found that the authors I did know, were fine and it was interesting to see them. But sometimes they may or may not have been really articulate or brought something to light. And I found some of the lesser known authors had some incredible things to say, or at least new to me authors. I think other people knew them really well. So that's just sort of part of the fun and the discovery of going to the literary festival. I think by the way, there were about 15 speakers over the course of those 3 days, and I think well, I didn't go to every single speaker because there were some concurrent sessions, but I went to every session. So I want to talk to you about the two things that made the biggest impression on me from the festival. The first was author after author after author spoke about the fact that they wrote for themselves. They wrote for themselves. They wrote to satisfy themselves. They wrote to pursue something that was calling to them. They didn't write for an audience. Again and again, they made that point of like, I'm not here to write what I think the audience will like. I'm here to write because of a calling inside myself. And I would say my work with Truing, my work with messaging is really about actually helping all of my clients get to that place where we're not just doing that transactional marketing of telling people that we can give them what we think they want, but that we're really responding to a deeper inner calling of what wants to be expressed, and we're allowing that expression to come forward. Percival Everett, I think, said something to the effect of he writes to learn, right? He writes to learn something new. And Colum McCann, a new author to me who I just started reading a book he wrote called A Paragon, that's amazing, about a father in Palestine and a father in Israel who both lost children to the various battles and wars and violence, who become friends, based on real people. Anyway, Colum McCann said, there's a saying in writing that you write what you know. And he said something, and I apologize if I'm misquoting, that he doesn't just write what he knows, he writes to learn something about himself, which I thought was really interesting. And I just think, again, that's the spirit I want to invite you, whether you're speaking your voice like I am now or you're writing, that you use it as this chance to discover something new about yourself. And really, and this is sort of a corollary because I wanted to sneak three things in, which is I think when we are in that spirit of writing or speaking for ourselves, for our own curiosity, for our own interest, I think it changes something. And there was a wonderful quote from Gabriella Zevin, who wrote a great book called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And she said, failure can be a creative place if you let it in. And she and some other authors talked a lot about this idea of success and failure. And Gabriella, for example, this latest book has been, I think, her most successful. And people treat her like she came out of nowhere, but she's actually been writing for 20 years. And she's had 10 books, and some of them more successful than others. And some of her recent ones were definitely not as successful. And I think she also said something like, being a writer is to accept that you're going to have, or being an artist is to accept that you're going to have many, many failures. But I love that idea that failure can be a really creative place if you take it in. The other thing she shared that I thought was great was that, she writes, her definition of success is when she writes and she's satisfied by what she's written. And again, I just think that's so much more powerful than, anxiously trying to please other people, but really finding a way to share your voice that pleases you, that satisfies you, that can have you go, yeah, that was really good. And we get there by doing it a lot. We get there by being playful. We get there by exploring, and we get there by discovering. And then the final thing I'll share is there was something that was debated, and I'm not going to get into the debate, but I thought it was really lovely, which was sort of like, you can take everything away from someone, but you cannot take away someone's stories, right? Your stories are your stories. They're nobody else's stories, and nobody can take away your stories. So if you want to be in the world, you want to have an impact, you want to use your lived experience to have a positive effect on others, we do that through our stories. I just thought there's something really beautiful about that, about you can take almost everything away from someone, but not their stories. So that's an example of sharing what you love. By the way, in this example, I did kind of weave it in with some other things that I'm doing, but you don't have to do that. Even if I just got here and talked about the literary festival, I think it would still have had some value for you. So if you want to play with things like this, if this seems fun, if you wonder what you would talk about if you started to speak about things that you love, please come join me for my 4-week Say It Loud, Share Your Deep, Wild and True Voice with the World 4-week challenge. We start on Sunday, May 25th, when I will release the workbook and the first week videos. We'll have our first call the following Thursday. It's going to be a great experience. It's going to be very action focused, and it's pay what you're inspired. So check it out, get all the information, and please come join us for 4 weeks of fun playing with your message.